Yo, 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 it's the Bleacher Boys back again. It's your boy Brian Hill. I'm here with my co-host Gavin Murphy rocking the Green Bay Packer hat. Buddy, how you doing on this first Monday of the NFL season?
I'm doing good. One of my teams won. Lost both fantasy matchups. It's all good. But hey, Green Bay won. So hey, I'm like being a Green Bay fan. Being a Green Bay fan right now is suiting me well.
Yeah. I've lost one matchup. I'm in 3 leagues, and my other two is I'm winning by 12 points. I have one player, they have two players. I think one is against Wokey, so I think he has Caleb Williams going. I have DeAndre Swift. So we'll see how that goes out. And then my other one, I'm winning by 10 points. I have somebody going. Oh no, I'm winning by 10 points, and he just has Aaron Jones going tonight. So I'm
Okay.
kind of hoping like maybe Aaron Jones gets stuffed, or he's switching the low with Jordan, because they said him and Jordan Mason are going to be sharing a lot of the load to start the year. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm just hoping Aaron Jones stays at 9 point, gets capped at 9 points today, which is realistic, but we will see how that goes. But let's jump right into it. We had a big week one slate going from Thursday to yesterday. We have Monday Night Football that is going to start in about 15, 20 minutes here. But we're going to kind of rapid fire through a lot of our takes. I know we had the Eagles-Cowboys game to start the year, but we'll kind of cover that kind of later in the show, because everybody has kind of got that game was, the forefront to jump things off, and I think that game's been covered a lot. So we'll work from more near to far back, and we'll start with an awesome game last night, Bills versus Ravens. I honestly fell asleep like 4 times on the couch while trying to watch this game. Then we finally went to bed, and I'm literally falling asleep with my phone on my CPAP machine, and then the bills start coming back, and that kind of woke me up. And I was shocked at the finish, how I don't want to say the Ravens crumbled, but they definitely had a choke moment. And the choke moment came from Derrick Henry, who normally who had a stellar game, was normally
Yeah.
very rock solid, but a theme that has kind of haunted the Lamar Jackson Harbaugh era, going on 8 years now, is they have come up short in a lot of their biggest games, and I
Mhm.
would throw this game in there. So big shootout. Josh Allen, I want to say I saw a stat where he threw for 251 points just in the fourth quarter alone last night. I forget his total yards overall, but Josh Allen definitely threw on his Superman cape last night to gut out a win versus the Ravens. Man, what are your thoughts? What are your takeaway? What did you get from that game?
Yeah, no, I think it's a early playoff preview for sure. I You heard a lot of reports coming out of the Bills camp and the offseason and even in the preseason that like Josh Allen is in good form. He seems to just be relaxed after winning the MVP. He gets married. There's a lot of things that are equating to this man having another MVP season, and I'm going to go ahead and give you my hot take after last night and say that they are the Super Bowl champs this year.
Gotcha. I won't go that far, but I'm this close. And it sucks that he instantly became the MVP front runner, because I was just close. I looked at it right about an hour ago. I was going to put, if he was, I think he was third in line for MVP voting this year, for MVP
Hmm.
odds. And because I think he was at like plus 800, and I was plus 300. But I
Yeah.
was going to put money on him for winning MVP at least, and being a back-to-back winner, because I saw a stat where Josh Allen has played with normally a top 6 scoring defense in Buffalo every year he's been there,
Hmm.
which is a great thing to have as a quarterback, especially when you have a defensive head coach. And last year their scoring defense was 10, but I'm like, man, the way the Ravens were just running up and down the field literally on them, throwing, running, pretty much everything they did all night worked. I was like, man, the Bills are not, as a team as a whole, they look kind of undermanned. They look like they don't have as much talent. They don't look as big, especially on defense. They look like they have a lot of speed and shifty guys, but not a lot of big guys, especially be able to stop the run. And they look like a bad matchup versus the Ravens, but they were able to go it out. But Josh Allen, Even though Patrick Mahomes is my guy, I have to think like, man, if he has to play 9, 10 games like that to win this year and put up those kind of numbers, it's like it's going to be hard to beat him for an MVP, especially looking at how his division is going to look. The
Mm-hmm.
Patriots look very, very dry yesterday. The Dolphins look like they could be the lock for the number one pick yesterday,
They look
and
lost. And the Jets did not
the
look
Jet
much.
and the Jets
The
look
Jets
good.
looked better. They looked
Yeah,
better,
yeah.
but their
It took
defense looked
yeah.
lost.
Yeah, but again, like you get in the shootout with the Jets, for 2 games, that bodes well for Josh Allen and the stats. So,
Yeah.
they could be a team that is, locking up the number 1 seed by week 15 or 16 with their division this year. They have a relatively tough schedule, not as tough as the Chiefs, not as tough as the Detroit Lions, not as tough as the Ravens, but the Bills actually have a middle of the road of like hardest schedule now that I'm thinking about it, which is weird for a first place team that went to the AFC Championship last year. But looking at their schedule, it's like, man, they could lock up the number 1 seed, and they are getting a new stadium next year. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
maybe they got some Highmark Stadium magic, like you said, Josh Allen getting married. Getting that monkey off his back, getting the high accolade, first team actually it was second team all pro, but win MVP. I'm with you on that. And it will be interesting to see what comes from both of these teams going forward, because most teams really don't round into form to around week 4 to 6 that they really
Yeah.
get an identity of who they're going to be. So I don't want to overreact too much, but I think Josh Allen having another stellar year, as well as Lamar Jackson, is pretty locked in, and Derrick Henry, for him to be doing what he's doing at his age, I think it's just a testament to who he is as a player, the specimen, but really his work ethic and determination. I think him and Christian McCaffrey are probably the two most workaholic dietitian guys, in the in season, the off season. And Christian McCaffrey had a great game yesterday as
Mm-hmm.
well. Had a little injury concern, but he looked like nothing was wrong with him. But we'll jump to the 49ers a little bit later. But I'm with you. Not going as far as them saying winning the title this year, because
They'll be there.
you gotta have defense. I definitely don't see them not making it to the AFC Championship game.
I see them in the bowl. I just watching this and like you said, a lot of teams don't come into form until like week 4, week 6. But I just don't see what I saw out of the gate. I didn't see much coming out of the AFC that I was like, even the Broncos I thought were disappointing.
Yeah.
And we'll get there, but
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot.
Yeah, I do agree with you. The AFC landscape doesn't seem as daunting of a row as it has in previous 3 or
Mm-hmm.
4 years. So I
Yeah.
100% agree with that, and the Chief being included.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the next topic. The Colts and the Jags both had
Mm-hmm.
impressive games. Both games weren't really close the entire game. The Jags had like a hour 20 weather delay in that game, but both teams won by, I think, 20 plus points. The Colts impressively scoring, I think, for the first time since uh 0-1 with Peyton Manning. They scored on every single possession they had yesterday, which was very impressive. Shane Steichen, Daniel Jones coming over from the New York Giants, looking very solid. Both teams played a great 3-phase start to finish game. Do you think they are the two front runners leading the AFC South this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can argue that they're not. The Texans looked very disappointing, as well as the the Titans are the Titans. I think they're. I don't even want to say they're a couple pieces away. The Titans are just the Titans right now. Houston was very disappointing. I was really underwhelmed. Um, I have pulled out all my stock in CJ Stroud. I'm not seeing it anymore after that great rookie season. I think you're blind, or you're just ultra biased if you're saying that they are not the two front runners coming out of the AFC South.
I agree. Um, it was actually Colton texting me now. I agree. The Shane Steichen had the Colts 2 seasons ago with Gardner Minshew fighting to the last couple
Mm-hmm.
minutes of the last game of the season to make the playoffs, and they just missed it 2 years ago. And I feel like Daniel Jones is definitely an upgrade from Gardner Minshew. They have pretty much the same weapons, except a much better weapon with Tyler Warren. Did it go? Did it stop?
Yeah, it switched over to something. I mean, we
Um,
can cut it out, but it's all good.
I guess it's just, I don't know, maybe my camera cut out. I don't know. Well, I'll edit this out.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah. Um, what was I saying?
You're talking about Tyler Warren, much better weapon,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much
yeah.
him.
Tyler Warren looked like a solid weapon. I think he's going to be one of the front runners for Rookie of the Year.
Uh-huh.
It's always tough for tight ends to win last. I mean, Brock Bowers had a phenomenal year last year and came in second place. It's always hard for tight ends, but if they're a playoff team and he's 90 catches, 7 touchdowns, why not? But they have the weapons. They seem like they have a solid enough defense. A good head coach, and then Liam Cohen had the Jaguars looking solid. On offense, solid on defense. They haven't been great on defense, and maybe he gets the most out of Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence will ever be elite or a top 5 or 6 guy, but if Trevor Lawrence could be a top 10, 12 guy, and you have Brian Thomas Jr., you had Travis Hunter catching 6 balls yesterday, playing a few snaps on defense, and then you got ETN and Tank Bigs, not Bigsby. Yeah, Bigsby.
No, it was
No,
Tutton. Tutton got a couple more. Vishal Tutton got a couple more of the carries than Bigsby.
You're right. You're right. I think
Mhm.
Bigsby still had like a 20 or 30-yard run.
Yeah, no,
So,
yeah.
I mean, you got a three-headed monster in the run game, 2 quality wide receivers. Their rookie tight end, look, I think was it Brendan Stinton or something like
Yeah,
that?
this is year 2 for him.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was there last year with
Okay.
Ingram. And I thought, I mean, and he played everything that I've seen. He played pretty well. I wasn't following the Jags much, but going back through fantasy and stuff, he had some really good games without Ingram. When Ingram last year was battling some injuries, but yeah, their tight end looked good. Man, the Jags. I mean, I bought stock in them because of you personally. You kind of got me to hey, this is the team that we can root for. I'm a fan of what Liam Cohen can do down there. I do think that Trevor Lawrence is finally going to take that next step. So I'm excited to see, man. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I saw a lot of headlines talking about, who was it a bigger game for, Lawrence or Bryce Young? I thought for sure it was Lawrence, and I thought he definitely showed why.
Yeah, I agree. Going from the AFC South to the NFC South, another good solid game from start to finish. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking down the Atlanta Falcons almost in walk-off fashion. Baker, one of the guys that I thought was going to be he's kind of been not talked about a whole lot, but you've been hearing good things. Emeka Ibuka, the wide receiver from Ohio State. Baker was able to connect with him twice yesterday for 2 really big, I think the first touchdown and the last touchdown of the game, which was really big for them. But both quarterbacks look solid. I mean, Penix missed a couple of throws, but he spread the wealth, got Kyle Pitts. Drake London did go down in the 3rd quarter, I believe, because they didn't have him for the whole 4th quarter. Mooney in the mix, but I like how Penix kind of is able to spread the wealth around and hit who's open and get through his reads. And I think as he gets a couple more games under his belt, he'll start hitting his guys. I think he still struggles a little bit with touch. He's one of these guys that has a good fastball, but sometimes can't get the changeup going, and it kind of just burns right through guys' hands. But Baker pretty much looked like he picked up right where he left off from last year. And, I like rooting for Baker. I know when he came into the league, he kind of came into a hot mess with the Browns, and we see what the Browns are today. And he bounced around to the Panthers and the Rams, and he's kind of found ground. I know he got an extension in the offseason. But what are your thoughts on this game, man?
Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting, all the divisional matchups that we had week 1. That was really, really interesting. Really liked Penix and what I saw from him and the Falcons offense. I think that they will be okay. I still think they lack a little bit on the defensive side. Personally, I don't think that they're there defensively. Kudos to the Bucs though, not having Goodwin or oh gosh, the other McMillan, is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Jalen McMillan?
Yeah.
Didn't have 2 weapons that they used a lot last year, or
Yeah.
K. Otten. They didn't have K. Otten either.
And they arguably probably the actual best offensive player. They didn't have their star left tackle Tristan Wirfs either. He was out for week
Yeah.
1. And I mean,
Yeah.
having your left tackle out is a big deal for any offense.
Yeah, no, it's huge. So good to see them. I liked what I saw out of that. I still think the NFC South is probably the worst division. I still think that's not there, but no, I thought it was a great matchup. We'll get another one here soon. I think they play in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They play like back to back. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. But no, I liked everything, man. I'm a fan of Baker personally, so.
Good deal. We will keep it in the NFC. A game that was not the most eye appealing, especially, from the first couple games. The 49ers scratch out a win versus Seahawks. Some of the more notable notes, I think Chris McCaffrey, who was questionable going into
Mhm.
game time with a calf issue, ended up not looking like an issue at all. He looked refreshed, like an RB1. I think he got 30 touches, 150 to 160 yards between the air and the ground. They fed him a lot. They kind of had to because Jawan Jennings went out, George Kittle went out, and George Kittle could actually miss week 2. Actually, some news popped up that Brock Purdy has a shoulder issue and he could miss week 2 too, which would mean Mac Jones would be stepping in. But on the Seahawks side, honestly, they had a chance to win that game late.
Mhm.
I think Sam Darnold had an opportunity to hit a guy over the middle, but kind of like, I don't know, jinx fashion, he fumbled off of his own player's butt. Shout out to Joey Bosa for the pass rush and getting the guy, close enough to call that fumble, and that kind of locked up the game for the 49ers. I think a highlight for Seattle, because I actually put money down for Seattle to win this division this year, and
Mhm.
this game didn't take anything away from that, because I think Seattle's only going to get better, especially on offense, but Seattle's defense looked very, very good to me.
Yes.
Outside of trying to tackle Christian McCaffrey, which is hard for a lot of teams to do, I thought their team did very good on defense, and if they can have a top 5 to 10 defense, and Sam Darnold can go 30 touchdowns, and Kenneth Walker can kind of get back in form and be 1,000, really like a 1,500 yard rusher, like we know it can. The Seahawks can be very, very formidable. But the 49ers do have the easiest schedule in the NFL this year alongside the Patriots. So take that for what it is. But man, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, man, it's a white boy party in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's a straight white boy party
Yeah.
up there. You got Brock Purdy, you got white boy Rick, you got CMC. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah. Pierce all looked
the
great.
yeah, dude, I'm telling you, and I liked him last year.
Yeah.
Getting shot, I know, kind of hindered a lot of his season, but I think we could have seen. You saw some glimpses of it at the end of the year last year, but I think he's definitely gonna take over that wide receiver one role. But man, I'm curious to see how the 49ers shake out with a big new kind. It's almost like a new roster, but not really.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious, especially with their strength of schedule, to see how it goes. Seahawks wise, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out this year with the backfield. I think it's going to be a committee, and I do think you're going to see them shop Kenneth Walker, and Charbonnet is going to take over that RB1 role. And then I think JSN is an absolute. I think JSN's a wide receiver one in the
Yeah.
league, and if Sam Darnold can just keep finding him, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Especially with their defense. I did like their defense. I thought their defense looked good.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll talk about a place that Kenneth Walker might be last year because there's a team. Actually, the next topic over, there's 2 teams running back rooms that looked very, very desolate in big games, and it really hurt them.
Hmm.
That I think Kenneth Walker, I think Brees Hall could still be on the docket, and I think there's one other running back that could be on the docket out there. Maybe even with the Dolphins going how they are, maybe even a Devon A. Chain, being that they got that Ollie Gordon Jr. kid, rookie for the Dolphins, who's
Hmm.
like looking to try to get in the mix too. That A. Chan could be possibly on the move as well. Um, but the 49ers, I think they're going to round the form. I know they have a lot of early round draft picks on defense, a lot of young guys, but they got Robert Saleh back from the Giants, and he is one of the better defensive coordinators. I think he struggled a little bit as a head coach, but as we talked about before, some of these coaches are just better suited to be a coordinator versus
Hmm.
being that head coach. And I think Robert Saleh is one of those guys. So we'll see how those 2 teams fare out. But let's take it back a little bit further to the Friday night special. Going down in Brazil, we had the Chargers take down the big bad Chiefs. And honestly, I think pretty convincing fashion, because they played, maybe not so much on special teams, but on offense and defense. Justin Herbert probably had the best all-around game that
Mm-hmm.
I've ever seen him play, and I haven't missed very many Herbert games, even going back to his phenomenal rookie season. Defense, they had the number one scoring defense last year at like 17.6 points a game, and they gave up 18 points to the Chiefs, so that's pretty much right on par for them. And Harbaugh just seemed to have a great game plan, which it actually shocked me because going into the game, I thought they would continue their trend. I thought Herbert would throw the ball a little bit more, but they would continue to feed the Ricky Hampton and Najee Harris get in there. And then, man, they came out slinging that thing all around, and the Chiefs secondary looked super vulnerable, and they took advantage of it. I think the Chiefs went in thinking that as well because they pretty much shut down the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Looked terrible in the secondary. Mahomes had some magic. He made some plays with his legs. We had another like horizontal to the ground throw, magical throw. And he took some shots, but I think one of the big things that happened on the third play of the game was Kelsey colliding with Xavier Worthy and causing a shoulder injury, taking him out of the game. And again, the Chiefs having their number one and number two wide receiver being taken out basically before the season even started. That's definitely going to hinder them with the Eagles and a couple other tough games on the docket. But
Uh-huh.
I think this was I think this was 100% still a Chargers win more than the Chiefs like just playing a terrible game and losing to a team they shouldn't have lost to. I think the Chargers just took this game and won. What say you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think that this is. I think it might be the year that we could say the Chargers are here. I know everybody tries to say that every single year, especially now that Harbaugh's been there. But I think we can finally announce that they're here. I think they have some weapons. I think that a 33-year-old Keenan Allen coming out there and doing some, he did some damage. Quentin Johnson did some damage. I mean, they looked solid all around. From opening kickoff till that final whistle blew, I thought they looked solid. I will agree with you. I don't think it was more of a Chiefs handed it to them. I think that the Chargers just went out there and won that game, and that just is what it is. And I don't think anybody needs to read into it any more than what it is. I think the Chargers are good, and I still think the Chiefs are good. The Chiefs always find a way, dude. They always do. I mean, like, look at last year with Isaiah Pacheco and then Kareem Hunt. I mean, Kareem Hunt comes in there and just tears it up. I mean, somebody's going to step up for him. It looks like it's probably going to be Hollywood Brown, and I'm trying to think of your other one.
Juju.
Yeah, like they're gonna find a way. Like Andy Reid's gonna find a way. Mahomes is gonna find a way. The one thing I will say is I thought Mahomes looked a lot more lighter on his. I don't know if I'm saying this right. I thought he looked lighter on his feet.
Yeah.
Looked a little more agile, is what I'm trying to say. Which was good to see. Even though I mean, I'm not the biggest Mahomes fan. But it is what it is. And yeah, no, man, I think that division is going to be interesting to see how it shapes up to finish out the year.
Yeah, one more thing on the Chiefs. I think they are going to be one of the teams. If I try not to be one of those fans that's like a couch GM as you call it, but if Brett Veach is not calling the Jets and the Seahawks to see what they want for their RB1s, that will give me a little bit of a pause just because since Pacheco's gone down with his injury, I don't think he's quite been the same. And I just don't think Kareem Hunt just quite has that burst that we saw in his first couple of years before he had the domestic violence incident.
Yeah.
And I like their rookie pick, Rashard Smith, but I just don't think he's ready to assume any big role yet. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to have to be broken in. So it's like, I don't know what it would take, but I think they need to make a move to acquire one of those two running backs if they want to go all in on this year. If they're like, hey, we're kind of capped salary wise, or we're just going to make do with what we got and look at next year. Just, we make it to another good playoff run, we'll do what it is, and, so be it. But if they want to make another real run at the Super Bowl, I think they're going to have to get Mahomes some help out of the backfield, which is something he hasn't had since the second year he's been in the league. But let's keep it in the division. And my question to you, I'll give you the question, and then I'm gonna give a little input because I think we both see eye to eye on one of these teams. But will the Raiders or the Broncos finish higher in the division this year? And before you answer that, I just want to say that even as a Chiefs fan, but as just a fan of this division altogether, we heard Sean Payton say after the Chiefs basically gave them an easy in when it was down to the Broncos and the Bengals for the last playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs sat their starters week 17. Then the Broncos go to Buffalo, get their butt spanked, and Sean Payton comes out and says, "Yeah, we got our butt spanked, but we like the matchup against the Chiefs better. We can't wait for that next year." Then we had to listen all offseason for Sean Payton saying how much he loves his team and how much Bro Nix is learning and growing, how great he's going to be, all for them to come out and look like how they did on offense this week. Now, on defense, they still look like they're going to be a top, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, 2 to 3 to 4, at worst, top 5 defense. The cornerbacks look great. They're probably going to lead the league in sacks again, and that's just a winning recipe. But on offense, they look like probably a bottom 5 offense to start off this year, and that defense definitely held them attack. So answer the question, and you could take it from there.
Yeah. I do see the Broncos finishing a little bit higher. I see them finishing over the Raiders. And the reason being is because I do have that stock in Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, Sean Payton. I really like RJ Harvey. I think that they'll be okay. I think that their running back room is solid. I think that their receiver room is solid. The only thing about the Raiders and it's week one, you can't put a lot of stock into week one. The only thing that kind of scares me about the Raiders is that running game. They have put everything into Ashton Genty, and I just didn't see it, which was kind of alarming. Kind of scary that he didn't really do anything. I mean, didn't even bust like a good run on the outside, nothing. I mean, there was nothing that gave me any hope, and you can only count on Geno to sling that thing so many times. I mean, and now you got Brock Bowers already with a little bit of an injury, so it's like I don't know. I don't trust it. So yeah, I'm keeping my stock in the Broncos. I do like them, and of course, I mean it's the same thing every year, but they have that advantage with Mile High, man. That's not an easy place to play. Everybody knows it in the league, so I'm gonna hold on to them.
Yeah, I still agree with you on that. I think the Broncos finished third and the Raiders finished fourth. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean the Raiders aren't an 8-win team, maybe even a
Yeah.
9-win team. And it's like Chargers win 12, Chiefs win 11, Broncos win 10,
Mm-hmm.
Raiders win 9. They could all split with each other. I don't think anybody's going to dominate the division this year. If it is going to be anybody, it's going to be the Chiefs, maybe bouncing back, or the Chargers continuing on how they are. I think I like the Raiders wide receivers a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
than people give them credit to, or I'll even just say they're pass catchers. But I am one when the fantasy rankings came out like 2 months ago, and I saw Ashton Jimmy being like the 5th or 6th or 7th running back on the board, I was like, and I was the biggest Ashton Genty like guy in college. Like I thought he should have won the Heisman. I thought he should be a top 5-10 pick. Like you're dumb not to draft him, but he has not in preseason. He hasn't popped,
Mm-hmm.
and he had 19 touches for 38 yards. Granted, he did score a touchdown, but 19 touches for 38 yards is not something that you'd hope to see. On the flip side, a Marion Hampton, who people were like, there's a lot of people who were just as high on a Marion Hampton coming out of UNC last year, and he really didn't do a whole lot. And he hasn't really shown a whole lot in preseason, although in Chargers camp, they say they really liked what they saw. So,
Mm-hmm.
in rookie running backs, sometimes they pop, sometimes it takes them a couple weeks. RJ Harvey did bust I think a 50-yard run. So
Mm-hmm.
that was good to see. That was something he did a lot at UCF. But I am with you. I do think the Broncos just have too many talented players on offense and defense, and have a Super Bowl winning coach. And it's granted they still have a third place schedule, so that should lead to them, pulling out a possible wild card spot, especially because I picked the Patriots to win to be a wild card team, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to overreact on that, but their offense looked as stale as rice cakes that have been in the cupboard for 6 months. I mean, that was
Yeah.
pretty foolish from them.
And I think they really need to lean into. I think they try to do too much of sharing the wealth. I think they really need to lean into Stephon Diggs and your running back core, and Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. And I think Vrabel will. I think he. I don't know. It's tough because I think I have a lot of stock in Travion Henderson. I really, really like him, and I think that he is a RB1 in the NFL, just by seeing what he did at Ohio State. But them just trying to share the love too much, and Drake May just didn't look like I thought Drake May would look.
Yeah.
It's almost like in that first game, I would have liked to have seen them scheme up some more to Stephon, scheme up some more screens, get the season off on the right foot, get your quarterback comfortable, new coach. I mean, everything, like, let's get on the right foot. So curious to see. I'm not overreacting to it. It is what it is. You drop the first one, the first week is always weird. I mean, shit, dude, the same thing could be said about Joe Burrow. I mean, Joker went out there and puts up 8 fantasy points. Like, what are we talking about? Anyway, you can tell he's on my team, so
Yeah.
it's all good. Yeah.
Even worse than that, man, Jamar Chase. I guess
Yeah.
let's go ahead and get there. They were 2 tops away. We'll go ahead and jump into that now. But the Bengals getting off to another slow start. And NFL, a win is a win. Last year, them dropping that first game to the Patriots basically cost them the playoffs. They got the win. It wasn't very convincing because it's like at the Browns, I think they missed a field goal. They missed an extra point.
Some
And
brutal drops.
Yeah, and I would say it's some brutal drops. Yeah, they had some brutal. There was 2 games that had. Oh, the Titans. That game and the
yeah.
Titans. I think the Titans had like 6 or 7 drops. Calvin Ridley had 3 almost wide open drops.
And he was going up against Cortland.
Quarterback.
Or he was going up against Surtain. Up against Surtain and has him wide open, and you can't convert that. Like, yeah. But anyway, yes.
So, but a win is a win.
Yes.
I think this Browns team, the way they looked, it kind of reminds me of that Browns team that was a wild card team 2 seasons ago with Joe Flacco, being that their defense looked very, very, very good. And it's like, if Joe Flacco or whomever can just go off for a couple games, the running back, Sampson, the rookie, I think he was.
Yes.
He looked good. A lot of check down passes, not a ton of runs, but yards are yards. You move the sticks. But I think the Browns, I mean, they have an offensive head coach, Kevin Stefanski, a 2-time coach of the year. So the Browns could be a dark horse because they had multiple opportunities to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bengals, even though they didn't give up a lot of points, the Browns missed a lot of opportunities. And that game easily could have been, 24-18 on the Brown side. But still a lot of cause for concern for the Bengals, being that a lot of people are big fans of Joe Burrow, as they should be. But a lot of people still have the Bengals making the playoffs, which that's still a dart throw in the dark to me. But we'll see how those. You can't really react over much, except for I had 2 buddies text me because I think my rule about fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
The guys who have 2 or 3 years in a row being dominant, and the guys who finish number 1 in fantasy never repeat. And I was like, I'm not touching Jamar Chase. I don't care how well he did last year. It's like 2 years ago, I wouldn't touch Christian McCaffrey. And Jamar Chase getting 3, having 3 catches I think he had 3 catches and like 8 yards or something the whole game. It was a brutal outing if you had, I think T. Higgins did just as bad. Chase Brown did score a touchdown. I think he had like 60 or 70 yards. But the Bengals offense is kind of brutal. And honestly, the Bengals have a lot of good offensive pass catchers. Because even when you get to their 3rd and 4th pass catcher and Mike Gesicki at tight end, and Chase Brown catches like 5 to 6 balls a game, that's a lot of wealth to spread around, even for Joe Burrow completing 30 passes a game.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the porta potty side of the NFL. Answer this question for me. Who is picking first between the Giants, the Saints, and the Dolphins?
Saints.
I'm probably still gonna agree with you.
Saints.
They play in the easiest division out of those three. And they played Spencer Rattler didn't look awful.
No.
And they still have some. I mean, they still have Olave. They still have Kamara. They still have Raheem Shaheed. So it's
They
like,
keep drawing up them damn bubble screens. They ain't gonna have a lot long. I don't know. Did you see that one?
yeah, yeah,
Dude, like, holy shit. I'm sitting there
yeah,
like, is Kellen Moore trying to get him killed? Like,
yeah,
are you trying to just end this man's career? Like,
yeah,
if y'all don't want him in the NFL anymore, just say it. I'm sure
yeah,
he'll retire.
yeah. Or
Um,
trade them away. Keep us up.
yeah,
Trade
do
them away.
something. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I'm probably still gonna go on you.
Yeah.
I think the Giants defense is going to be too good, even though the Commander kind of ran shop on them. And Jackson Dart's probably going to be starting by week 6 or 7 or 8. He's going to be in
Sooner.
there. I wouldn't be shocked if Jameis Wilson isn't starting game 2 or 3. They're probably going to go back to Russ, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jameis Winston isn't the quarterback in there by the end of the month. And the Dolphins, man, they it looks like it's just time to clean house. If they start out 1-4, 4-4, 1-6, like Mike McDaniel's not making out of this season alive.
No.
And neither is a GM. And they're cleaning house and a lot of all I saw on my Twitter feed, and I know I get a lot of Chiefs traffic on my Twitter feed. I get a lot of AFC traffic in general. But all I saw was a countdown to trading Tyreek. I'm like, yeah, I'm with it. But then his ex-wife also just came out, of course, on a Monday after they played brutally, that while they were married, he had like 17 domestic violence incidents against him, including choking, slamming, punching. It's like, dude, Tyreek might not ever, kind of bounce back from this. So as well
Yeah.
as having enough money to pay for his 9 kids in child support. But I am with you. Sorry for that tangent, but I am with you on the Saints possibly being number 1 pick. Although I'm probably by week 3 going to make that Dolphins because I just think they're in a better division. Or I mean, the Bills and Jets look like they could run up and down on them, and Patriots probably better than them as well. And really, last thing on this, Tua. Just I'm completely out on Tua
Uh-huh.
between him being small, injured, like one big hit away from his career possibly being done with concussions, not being able to go through his progression. Then you have 2 of the probably 6 or 7 fastest guys on the offensive side of the NFL on their team, and you can't throw a deep ball. And Jalen Waddle and Tyreek, and obviously everybody saw Tyreek's frustration this year. I just don't think it's going to go well for the Dolphins. But let's get back to a more positive subject. Game that was honestly the game of the weekend until the Bills and Ravens game came on, and the Steelers and Jets. It was
Yeah.
an absolute shootout. Fields looked very good. He was running the ball. He was hitting his targets. People were worried about him getting the ball to Garrett Wilson. That wasn't much of an issue. I had Garrett Wilson on the bench, which was awesome because he scored 19 points.
Yeah.
and I'm in a tight race right now. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdown, no interception game. He's tied with Tom Brady with 17, the most of those of all time. First time he's done that since his last MVP season in 2021. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers pass catchers look good. Calvin Austin III from Memphis, DK Metcalf. But the Steelers were another team that the run game is a strong part of their identity. And
Mm-hmm.
I think they were 2.7 carries per rush or yards per rush yesterday, which that is not going to get it done for a playoff contender, division contender type win. And their defense got gashed. Now, Justin Fields is a matchup nightmare when he's on like he's on yesterday, so I would give them that. But they miss assignments, they miss some tackles.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still a great game to watch. What say you?
Man, I think Justin Fields is here to stay. I don't think that's a fluke. I'm really, really curious to see what Aaron Glenn does with him this year and with that offense. They look poised for a good season. I was disappointed in the defensive play. The defense was supposed to be a lot better with getting Jermaine Johnson back from an injury. They had some pieces that they were missing last year on the defensive side of the ball that they had back this year. So kind of disappointed in that. The Steelers, I thought, as bad as I hate to say it, I thought Aaron Rodgers looked good. I think he's got a two-headed monster in his tight ends.
Yeah.
The running back room is going to be interesting with Jaylen Warren, who I know Steelers diehards love. Rod being one of them, loves Jaylen Warren, really likes him. And then what's the kid's name? The rookie Johnson, Caleb
Caleb
Johnson.
Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people were like out on him, like, oh, he's a bust, he's not going to do anything. I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see, man, especially with DK there and Calvin Austin, like you said. I'm curious to see how the weeks progress for them, especially on the run game. How their run game progresses throughout the year.
I'm gonna overreact. This will be a legit, probably the most I overreact on anything I saw in week 1. I'm watching that game. I'm looking at Aaron Glenn, defensive guy coming from a good program. It seems like he has legitimately, for at least for the time being, positively influenced that culture there. Maybe he's got his guy in Justin Fields. I think he does. You think he does?
Mm-hmm.
They already had some good, really, really good Pro Bowl level playmakers in Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, even their backup running back, Braylon Allen.
Dude's a monster.
I think the Jets are going to be the Commanders light from last year. I look at dual threat quarterback, not quite as good as Jaden Daniels, defensive coordinator coming over as a head coach. I think culture change, easier schedule, catches some teams off guard. Because if Justin Fields can complete 60% of his passes and rush and be as athletic, because people forget Justin Fields was 4-2 for the Steelers last year, and you could argue if he's in there to finish that season versus Russ taking all those sacks, just lobbing up the ball in the middle of the field, not able to throw the ball in the middle of the field,
Uh-huh.
that the Steelers probably have a better chance to win, especially as it gets colder in the NFL. Just an ability to pull the ball down and run. And I think the thing I was most impressed about with Justin Fields, and this will be my last thing, was normally he's quicker to pull the ball down and run. And yesterday you could see he still had his eyes up looking to try to find a receiver before
Mm-hmm.
taking off sometimes. Sometimes he hit some of those guys.
Yeah.
And they had a chance to win that game. He kind of threw a hospital ball to Garrett Wilson out in the flat, got blown up. But it was really a great play by Jalen Ramsey to end the game pretty much. But the fact that they had a chance to win that game late I think is a really good sign. And I wouldn't be surprised if going into late December, the Jets are fighting for a wild card spot this year. That'll be my
Yeah.
overreaction for this year or for this week.
I like it.
And man, to round us out, we've been going for about 45 minutes. It's been good and tight so far. To round us out, we're just going to throw these last 2 games in there. You give me your thoughts. I'll give you your thoughts, and we'll get out of here. We had the Texans and Rams, and then the Eagles and Cowboys. 2 NFC teams. A lot of people still have Texans as a playoff team, possible contender. I'm not sure about that. A lot of people think the Rams could be in the NFC Championship if Stafford is healthy, finishes the year. And my one take I'll take from these 2 games was I thought the Cowboys looked better than I thought they were going to look, and they looked better than a lot of people thought they were going to look. And I don't think that was necessarily a knock against the Eagles. And maybe Jalen Carter getting kicked out before the game did have something to do with that because he is such a destructive player. But I still think Dak made enough good throws throughout that game. And 2 of CD's drops were they would have been amazing catches if he caught them. He did have 2 other drops that were just kind of catches he typically does make. they came out and they run the ball well with Javonte Williams. I think it was a little bit of a surprise to some people. A lot of people like the rookie Jaden Blue. So I do think the Cowboys, I'm not picking them to make playoffs, but I do think they're going to have a better season than what people have been predicting them to have. What is your takeaways from these last 2 games?
Yeah, no. So the Rams, I like them. Of course, that's barring Stafford stays healthy. Even if he goes down, I think Puka Nakua is back. I think that people were like preying on his downfall, and I don't know why. But I think he's going to be fine. I like the Rams. I do like the Rams. Like I said, I've already talked on the Texans a little bit. I was really disappointed with them. And then Eagles and Cowboys. Yeah, dude, I like the Cowboys. I don't think that they're like far and beyond, what Cowboys fans might think they are. I think Jalen Carter getting ejected from that game made a huge difference. I think you saw it in the first score of the game with Javonte Williams going right through the middle. That's not happening I don't think they try to run that ball through the middle if Jalen Carter's there. I think they try to bounce it to the outside or maybe dump off something, but they don't try to go right through the middle. They saw that and went right through it. So yeah, man, I'm not overreacting on any of those. I do think the Eagles are still primed for another good playoff run. I think that the Rams, like I said, I do think, and I'll revoke my statement, I do think that their season success rides on Matthew Stafford staying healthy.
I will say this. I watch a lot of that Texans and Rams game. Devontae Adams might be the best second receiver in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And if Stafford is healthy, Puka and Devontae could be the best duo to go on in the NFL.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Because
Devontae Adams, even at the ripe age of, what is he, 32 now? 31,
yeah,
32?
I think it's 31. About 30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, still the best route runner in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. He carved and granted the Texans have arguably two of the best cornerback duo in the
Mm-hmm.
NFL. So granted, Puka works a lot over the middle. Devontae
Mm-hmm.
kind of works over the middle and out to but still for the Rams to just carve them up how they did. And man, it's crazy. Like Puka's almost like was Eric Burns. Like he's like a crack dummy. Like the dude is just always taking big hits, and he seemed like
Mm-hmm.
he's always like one hit away from a concussion. I know his eye was bleeding. They thought he had a concussion at once, but because he plays so hard, and he's such a physical run blocker as well as Devontae Adams. That's kind of why I wanted to pick Kyren Williams in fantasy, but he got taken the round before I wanted to take, or really a couple picks before I wanted to take. Because I think Kyren Williams having those wide receivers and a healthy O line is going to like have a big year this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's top 5 guy, but he's a second, third round running back that could easily
Yeah.
finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Eagles are going to throw the ball enough for AJ Devontae to be like legitimately a good duo. I
Mm-mm.
don't think Miami's going to get the ball enough to Tyreek and Jalen. What are the other duos? I mean, T and Jamar could still easily be there by the end of the year. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, probably an anomaly. And there's no other duo that jump off the board to me that's like, Addison's going to miss 3 games to start out the year.
Mm-hmm.
So him and Jay Jetta's going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit. So, man, that Puka Devontae is going to be very, very deadly. And when you have the defense that they do with Stafford just being a winning guy, they could definitely see themselves winning that division. They're not making it as a wild card. Did pick the Seahawks to win that division, but they could definitely be a team built more for the playoffs and making another Super Bowl run.
Do you think Debo and Scary Terry could?
Yeah, yeah, I think so
Okay.
too. The only reason I didn't really think of them because I still think of Debo as kind of like a gadget guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we didn't he didn't really run the ball out of the backfield a whole lot for Washington in game 1.
Uh-uh.
We'll see what happens. They got Eckler. They already got some good pass catching running backs. So I do think he's gonna be just a true slot guy. But Scary Terry and Debo can definitely contend for that number 1 and 2 spot. Um
There's two more duos that I'll give you.
okay.
Amon-Ra, and
And
Jamison
Jalen.
Williams. That's another one that I think could. And then the other one that I think has a chance just off of what all the preseason talks were, are Keon Coleman and Khalil. I always butcher his last name. No,
Shakir.
you're saying no.
No, no.
Okay.
For top, no. I think Josh Allen is going to do what a lot of quarterbacks do when they actually win the MVP. They spread, like, they have a guy that obviously had more catches than other, but I think he's going to spread the ball around so much because they run a lot of 2 tight end sets. Cade had some catches yesterday. James Cook had a 50-yard pass catch yesterday. So I think Keon and Shakir are just going to be, I think they're going to have some big plays. And obviously they're going to be in a spotlight because Josh Allen's going to be in the spotlight. So they get a little overrated. But I think if you just go off pure stats and impact, I don't think they're going to get like the target value or target volume that Amon-Ra and Jameson or Scary Terry and Debo or Devontae and Puka are going to get. Because Devontae and Puka is going to get, they're both going to get 10 targets every game.
Yeah, I think Keon after hearing everything, because there was a lot of talks about him in the preseason camp, and people don't realize how big Keon is.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a small dude by any stretch of the imagination. Like, he's a big dude. I mean, and I had him on my bench this weekend, which that hurt. But
I mean, granted, he was a small one, but he was a shooting guard playing college basketball.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's by far, hands down, in my opinion, the best athlete on the field on the Bills.
Yeah.
And they are going to find a way to utilize him because he's coming off of his rookie season, and I think that there's not enough film on him, and he's going to run through people and run through offenses.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think he's going to be the only thing that sucks for him is he won't. And another reason why I don't think they're going to be a top duo is because of how the Bills score touchdowns, because the Bills are so Josh dominant, Josh and James Cook red zone dominant, and they don't throw a lot of jump balls or throw the ball inside the 10 a whole lot anyways, not versus what a lot of other teams do. Matt Stafford is not doing any quarterback sneaks or anything. Quarterback runs to run a touchdown. A play just completely breaks down.
So
Keon's going to have to catch some, 20 and 30 and 40-yard touchdowns, whereas Shakir does do that because he catches a lot of balls over the slot, makes the safety miss, and then he's off to the races. Keon is going to have to be kind of more of like a Randy Moss running go routes, catching a 50-50 ball, breaking a tackle, running in for 40 yards than he is, they're on the 15, you throw them a fade route and catching it just because that's not what they do.
Yeah, and I think Keon has a chance to take those red zone targets this year because, like you said, they have been so Josh and James Cook dominant that I think you're going to see McDermott kind of switch it up a little bit and throw a little wrinkle in here and there. I do.
They should if they want to win the big games.
Yes.
Because it is pretty easy to predict that Josh is going to run or James Cook is going to run.
Yes.
Because you even saw the Ravens stuff that earlier in the game a little bit as well. Not when they really got their heads rolling. So I do think they're going to have to switch that formula, especially in how they lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game last year, trying to do the tush push, which ended up not working in their favor.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good podcast, brother. Just under an hour. We covered pretty much everything. I guess we need to do an honorable mention because we didn't mention your Green Bay Packers dominating.
Hey, it's all good.
Yeah,
we're good. Yeah. We're good. We don't need to talk about it.
But I will say this: Jordan Love did look kind of like his little his 8-game run at the end of 2 years ago. He did look closer to that form. I'm hoping for a big year from Josh Jacobs. I have 2 of my fantasy teams. I think Jordan Love's going to be another guy that. You hope Matthew Golden's going to be, a number 1 guy, but I mean, he was hitting Dobbs. He was hitting all of his wide receivers pretty evenly. But one thing I predicted, I know I said on this show, I've been saying it to anybody who would listen. I was concerned about the Lions losing both of their coordinators, and people. But I'm not saying Ben Johnson is going to be great for the Bears. We'll see how that looks tonight, and I think it may be more of a Caleb Williams thing. I'm starting to especially after hearing the article that came out this weekend about how entitled Caleb Williams was last year. I don't know if you saw it. Just to give you the short on it, some of the coaches from last year, it came out an article with Ryan Poles, who's the GM there, some of the coaches, they basically said Caleb Williams was so entitled that when the coaching staff would try to coach him up and give him criticism, he flat out wouldn't respond to them. Like they would like, hey Caleb, maybe we should try this next week, and Caleb would just look and then like change the subject and start talking about something else, or just wouldn't respond to that coach. And he did it to the quarterback coach. He did it to the interim coach who came in after Eberflus and a couple other things. So we'll see how Ben Johnson, coaches him up. Maybe he has more respect for him. But looking at how Aaron Glenn had the Jets looking, and we're going to see how Ben Johnson looks tonight, I think the Lions are going to struggle finding an identity this year, which in their division, which is one of the tougher divisions, probably the 3 toughest divisions, is going to be, if they get off to a slow start, it's going to end up being a long year for them. And how they played that game, not to overreact, it could have them finishing 4th in their division.
Yeah, no. I think the Lions definitely are taking a regression this year. But I do think the Packers are a legit contender. It all depends on health. The way that I do. I mean, everything depends on health. I think if Jordan Love can stay healthy, the receiving room has to stay healthy. The only problem with the Packers, and this is a fantasy kind of, I guess, note, is Jordan Love is one of those quarterbacks, and LaFleur is one of those coaches. They share the wealth.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be, like, I know everybody thinks that Matthew Golden is going to be like the breakout like guy, and I think it's going to take a lot longer for him to absorb that role. But I do think he is going to end up being the wide receiver 1 when it's all said and done. But there's just so much wealth and so many weapons with Datavian Wicks, and you got Reed, you got Romeo Dobbs still. Like, there's so many different, and you got Tucker Kraft, you got yeah, I mean, there's so many weapons that they can hit you with. And then on the defensive side, getting Micah Parsons, I think, was massive.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, let's close out, brother. You enjoy Monday Night Football the rest of your evening, and we will holler at y'all next week for Week 2 rundown.
Hey, if you want to make a trade, let me know.
We'll do.